So let's move on now to my 2019 predictions, and we'll come back to this topic in a year and see if I was correct or not. I want to begin with gaming PCs. I do think this will be the year we'll get gaming PCs that perform better than most consoles that should cost around $500 or so. I believe it'll probably be powered by AMD processors, and we're going to start seeing these things coming down in price to a point where you'll have a real decision to make between maybe getting that 4K game console or getting a gaming PC that might give you a little bit more freedom and flexibility. I think we're at that point. We've been getting very, very close. Of course, you can piece things together with some used hardware now to hit that price point, but I think for new stuff, out-of-the-box kind of solutions, I think we're going to see that this year. And I think related to that, we're going to see a merger of some kind between the Xbox world and the Windows 10 world. Microsoft has been hinting at this through some of their game releases, and we've been seeing that through some of their E3 videos where games are released on Windows 10 and Xbox simultaneously. I think that's going to continue. I think they will likely offer this as an incentive to get people to start buying their games through the Windows Store so that they can start playing on their PC and then go to their Xbox when they get home. I see this really happening with more developers at some point, just because the gaming PC market is a real growth area, not only for Microsoft, but for the companies that make gaming PCs and the hardware that those of us who build PCs use to make our own computers. And this is too lucrative of a market for Microsoft to not give it a lot of attention. And now that we're seeing some competition between Epic and Valve for game distribution, there's no reason to think Microsoft won't want to get into this as well, because this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that Microsoft can earn additional revenue for just by sending bits down the wire, and they'd be crazy not to take advantage of it. So let's look for that grand merger happening at some point in the next year. VR is something that I think is going to continue its consumer market decline, but I do see growth in commercial applications. We're seeing that with HTC's products. They're really focusing more on commercial uses of their VR technology. Oculus is still trying to focus on consumers. They've got a new higher-powered standalone device that might move the needle a little bit, but I still don't think we're quite there yet on the consumer side. And it's really disappointing, too, because VR is just so good, and it's unfortunate that they haven't yet cracked the code of what consumers are looking for, and it's likely they never will get there, but there is a lot more money to be made, again, on the commercial side of things, and I think that's where we're going to see VR really develop over the next 2 or 3 years. Maybe at some point we'll see more consumer adoption of this, but even the PlayStation VR, which is the market leader, doesn't have a lot of installed units as compared to all of the PlayStation consoles that are out there. So unfortunately, I don't think 2019 is going to be the year of VR. We'll have to wait a few more years to finally get the holodeck, I guess. Another thing that I think is going to happen is that Apple will likely release a 12-inch ARM-powered MacBook that will run Mac OS. It'll be running with an iPad processor, essentially, but you'll be able to run your Mac applications on it. Apple has been very clear that their MacBooks are computers, their iPads are tablets. This won't be some kind of two-in-one device. I think it'll just be the MacBook we all know, powered by an ARM processor that will likely perform better than the Intel version at specific tasks like photo and video editing, and will likely get a lot more battery life as well. Apple's been very good at switching their systems from one processor to another. They've done it now, I think, at least 3 times in the history of the company. They went from Motorola 68,000 processors to PowerPC. Then they went from PowerPC to Intel. It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that they will do the same here on ARM, especially given they are making their own chips now and they have a lot of experience with these ARM processors on the iOS side. And speaking of new chips, I also predict that we might see something new from NVIDIA that might also give us something new from Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch, of course, has been a crazy success for both companies. For NVIDIA especially, because they have not been providing GPUs to the other console makers. Both Microsoft and Sony use AMD processors on their game consoles, and the Switch, of course, uses the same chip that is in the NVIDIA Shield TV. And don't forget, the Shield TV has been around for almost 4 years now, so that chipset is getting a bit long in the tooth. There's no doubt in my mind that they've been working on something new in their labs to better what they've been able to get out of that essentially mobile processor, and I think this will probably be the year we'll see something. Maybe we'll see a new Shield at CES. I hope we do, because I haven't seen much from them hardware-wise over the last year or so. And if we do see that, there's no doubt we'll probably see an upgraded Switch sometime thereafter. And I'm sure that they've learned a lot from this partnership about what game developers are looking for. And it's clear that Nintendo won't have this be the sole hardware moving forward. And I think what they'll do is likely adopt the same strategy that Microsoft and Sony have done, which is have the same software platform, but provide an upgraded experience for people that have the faster hardware. Now, Nintendo denies that there's a new console in the works, but they made that denial in the middle of the holiday shopping season, and I don't think they wanted to cannibalize their sales by announcing a new console that might be out sometime in the coming year. So I do think it'll happen, especially if that chip is announced, and we'll see if my predictions here hold up when we revisit this topic in a year. I put something into my task manager so that when we get to December of 2019, we'll take a look back and see how many of these things I got right. I got a good feeling about this set of 5, but who knows? Let me know what you thought down in the comments below.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, the Four Guys with Quarters podcast, Tom Albrecht, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.